Hello everybody, it's Tommy and welcome back to another speed build for the Disney save. Today we are working on the second hidden lot on the mountain excursion on the way up Mount Komorebi. This is a 20 by 15 and it is the last one before you reach the peak of the mountain, which I have already told you guys is going to be Elsa's castle. And that is currently a work in progress that I've been putting a lot of time into and I have not been live streaming. So it's sort of being worked on in the background and I'm really excited for when it does come out and I am able to share it with you guys. I actually wanted to say that I believe Elsa and Anna's Create-A-Sim could potentially come out before Elsa's castle actually comes out, and I hope that's okay, but because of the nature of how detailed the castle is, and in combination with the fact that the only other thing that's actually left in this area of Mount Komorebi is the other large lot at the top of the mountain, which I have also told you guys is going to be Arendelle Castle, I'm sort of back-to-back castles, and that complicates my schedule a little bit as far as video releases go, so to counteract that I've decided that I'm going to release a couple of Create-A-Sims a little bit early. I also will very likely split Kristoff and Anna and Elsa's cast into two separate videos, and we'll talk about Sven obviously and all that stuff when it comes down the line, but I just kind of wanted to give you guys a preview of what is to come. Now for today's build, this was sort of a last minute decision, but I'm really excited because I think it's so, one, that if I had looked back on the Disney save, it makes so much sense that this is here, and I would have been sad that it had gotten missed or that we forgot to do it. So after a couple of planning sessions with my patrons for Mount Komorebi, someone very late on suggested that we do the Yeti Cave from Monsters Inc. And Monsters Inc. has been brought up for Mount Komorebi a few times. It's still sort of in the running for one of the restaurants that we might be doing later on in the world, but this is such a natural choice. First of all, it's a cave build. I love doing cave builds. They're very simple, they're very fun, they're sort of different, especially when you use debug rocks like this and you can sort of morph them into the wall to make it look very organic looking. And I have done a cave build previously in the Disney save. If you remember from Willow Creek, I built a cave for the Enchantress, but that was sort of like a cave hidden inside the woods, and this one is a snow cave for our dear old Yeti, and that other one had to be an entire house, whereas this one really doesn't have to be. This is more of a shout out to the scenes from Monsters Inc. where Sully and Mike are outcasted to the mountains and they end up with the Yeti, and the Yeti sort of takes them in for a couple of scenes to keep them in the cave, and like you see the cave and you get that whole scene. That is basically what we are referencing here. So it's a very simple cave build, and I wasn't really concerned about doing a bunch of rooms, like making it a fully functional house. Very similar to Periwinkle's home, which is less of a home because it doesn't have a kitchen and a bathroom, and more just like a symbol of the movie that it represents. Since these are hidden lots, and since this is a lot that a sim cannot actually live on, I feel like it's okay to have these hidden lots be more references to some of the movies without being like fully functional livable homes, versus if we were going to make the Yeti a Disney save character, like main character, and we built this somewhere in Mount Komorebi that's actually a normal residential, I would have to do like a whole underground system with a bunch of like living kitchen, dining, bedroom, that kind of a deal. But instead we just have a very simple cave, and we have the one room upstairs where we can do a couple of references to the movie, including the sled that Sully puts together to slide down the mountain towards the village. Obviously the lemon snow cone reference, which we don't actually have snow cones in the game, but we do obviously have ice cream and the ice cream machine. So when I was building this on stream, someone had suggested that we throw the ice cream machine in there, and after a little bit of moving stuff around, I did manage to get it to work. And then you can sort of see in the background of the scenes from the mountain that he does have some kind of supplies sort of around, and a lot of it looks like gear or things that he might have collected from the mountain. Some of it looks like ski and climbing gear. A lot of it is like crates and wooden boxes, probably supplies that other people who had tried to traverse the mountain had on them, and he sort of like collected into his home over the years. So very minimalistic as far as the design goes on the interior, but I just think that this is a fun shout out to a movie that we haven't gotten really a chance to touch on too much yet. And at the end of the video, I did throw in a little bit of a Create-A-Sim for the Yeti. Now, John Ratzenberger is the voice of the Yeti, and a patron had also suggested that maybe we make one of the Sims look like John Ratzenberger and then put the Yeti costume over the top of him. So that's not included in today's video, but I think it might be a fun little thing and I might add it later on. I did very much just take a sim and put the Yeti costume over all of their outfit choices, and that person will be a townie. And I'm just gonna hope that they don't take the outfit off. It's similar enough to the Yeti from Monsters Inc. and it's kind of exciting because it's one of the very rare opportunities that I'll be able to depict one of the monster characters from Monsters Inc. as an actual monster character. As far as Sully and Mike go, and some of the other major characters from Monsters Inc., a lot of people have asked me whether or not they will be included, and I definitely would love to. I think if we were going to include them, they would likely end up as aliens, and we would sort of do a more like humanistic looking version of them, but then do an alien version that could be more of a shout out to their color variations, and we could do like a green alien for Mike and a blue alien for Sully and sort of do it that way. And I feel like that's the only real solution without having like some kind of a monster occult added to the game. Potentially, if we were to get werewolves, there is like an opportunity to use that concept for some of the monsters in Monsters Inc. Or maybe we could use like a bunch of different occults and like sort of make a mix of them, and that would make sense. So I am planning to do them and use the characters from Monsters Inc. and you will probably see some of them in Brightchester. I feel like Monsters University is a really natural choice for Brightchester, as well as some other worlds, I am sure. But I just wanted you guys to know that that is sort of in the back of my head. But when they added the Yeti costume, which I don't believe that I had the Disney save started when they added that, because that is actually a part of the free holiday patch update. Of course, immediately I was excited about something like that, and knowing that it was in the game, knowing that I would be able to potentially use it later for like an actual reference to the Yeti. So it's cool. It's going to be a little bit different. He will sort of be walking around Mount Komorebi as a fictional sort of Yeti character, which is also fun, I feel, especially that he ended up being a townie, and I hope that you guys do not run into him without the costume on, but there are some inevitabilities about The Sims that sometimes you just sort of can't control. Now, like I mentioned for the interior, we have a very, very small area in here. I have merged the rocks from Debug sort of through the wall so that we could get a very organic feeling wall, and we don't sort of just have like squared off rooms, which would not feel very cave-like at all. And there is a little bit of a hole on the top, so when you're playing in here very limitedly, in fact the only real interactable object in here is the ice cream machine, which is kind of funny because I'm sure after a long climb up the mountain, the last thing that your Sims really want is some ice cream. But if anything, it would hopefully work for a little bit of food if you forgot to bring some. It would be basically the worst choice for food, but it's there. But I wanted to make sure that you would be able to see into the cave pretty easily, so one of the rocks on the roof is placed as like the substitute for the roof, which means if you have the roof down, you can see directly into the cave, and then you can sort of see some of the details that are in here. The only real things that were important to me was a little bit of clutter that looked like it was stuff that had been possibly collected from the mountain. I did want to piece together a recreation of the sled that Sully puts together. He uses a bunch of the stuff in the background and starts like tying together skis and a lantern and some crates and stuff to make a makeshift sled, and I'm pretty happy with how it came out. I'm so glad we got Snowy Escape, because obviously a lot of these builds wouldn't have been possible to the level that they are, but specifically the little things like the debug skis and stuff that you can use to actually like go sledding down the mountain, those kinds of things I would be at a loss for some of the stuff that I need to do for this world without, so I'm really excited that that had been added in, and I was so excited to find some actual skis that come in like that brown swatch that made it all kind of come together. And then, like I mentioned, someone had requested an ice cream machine, which I thought was a really, really great idea, but you do have to place the ice cream machine on a counter, which can be really annoying. I wish that they would stop doing items that are specifically requested to be on like a specific magic item in the game, and I'm not really sure what happened, if this is something that has come about from the latest patch, but there used to be something that you could do where if an item needed to be placed on a counter, there were certain counters in the game that you could use that would size down. So you could place it on the spot where it's supposed to go on the counter, you could size the counter down, and then the item would sort of float in the air, and it made it really easy for you to put something in place of the counter, maybe a different table or a rock or something else, and it still was very interactable. And I've seen people use this for laptops when it comes to doing like extra like cool shelf desks that are more attached to the wall for like your laptop area, and just a variation on desks. But I went to go do it for this build, and it wasn't working. And I really hope that that's not something that they've patched out recently, because there was a patch to the game a few days ago. Quite a few things are broken on my end. I actually had to do all sorts of stuff to get my game working again after the patch. Very, very strange. I normally have almost no problems with updates at all, but for some reason this one completely broke my game, and then I've been noticing little things that aren't working, such as this, and I just hope that they have not patched that out, because that is such a cool detail. And in fact, I will have to go back and fix some builds of mine for the Disney save if that's something that they've decided to patch out for any particular reason. But nonetheless, between debug items and a few rocks, I managed to be able to find some stuff to cover that sort of modern counter and make it feel like it fits a little bit better into the scenery with some crates and all of that, and still keep it functional, of course. And then we had to do a little bit of a reference to the yellow snow cones, so I used the yellow ice creams and sort of stacked them in the eco lifestyle container carton from some of the fizzy drinks that they offer in game. And then just as a quick little thing at the end, for maybe those of you who don't remember what the Yeti costume looks like or wanted to just see really quickly, this is the Yeti costume that we threw in at the end, and we ended up naming him, I think, Yeti the Snowman, I believe. And like I said, I might have to go back and actually do a little bit of editing on the sim to make it that extra special little detail where he would look like the voice actor, and I think that that would be really fun to add in. We did use the first color swatch. It comes in quite a few. There's like a pink one and a brown one, and potentially at some point later on we could end up using those other ones as well, and that would be pretty cool. But for now, the classic white and blue really works. It's similar enough to the movie, and I'm just excited to hopefully run into him around town and have him be like a special townie in the save file. So this was a really quick one today. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought of the Yeti Cave down in the comment section below. Are you excited for Elsa's Castle or Arendelle Castle? Which one are you more excited for? Tell me all about it down below. Don't forget to follow me over on Twitch. I stream 3 times a week for The Sims and the Disney Save, and on Fridays we do Variety Friday. I play with all sorts of people from the community. We have a lot of fun. Definitely come hang out. If you would like to support the Disney Save on Patreon, you can do so by clicking the link in the description box down below, or the one at the end of the video. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Hit that little bell icon below to turn on post notifications so you can get updated every single time I post, and I will talk to you all in the next one.